So I just recorded a whole video for you, and then my phone said there's no more storage. And then it was all erased. Oh my gosh. Since I've moved here, many people have asked me about how hard is it to find an apartment here? Is it hard to rent an apartment? What does it cost? All of those things. And I think no, it's not hard to find an apartment here, or to buy an apartment or to rent. There's many options, many beautiful places, and Italy is still relatively cheap compared to the rest of Europe, I would say. And there's these amazing old palazzos that have amazing high ceilings, and they just feel ancient, and it's very special. So no, it's not that hard, but the bureaucracy of getting your residence here can be hard, and especially if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't speak the language, if you don't have help from friends or somebody local that can help you with this. So yeah, that's why today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this and hopefully help you make the right decisions to make that process as easy as possible for you. Now, the first thing to remember when you want to move to Italy, anybody that stays here longer than 3 months is not considered a tourist anymore and needs to apply for a residenza, for your residence card, right? So it doesn't matter if you're here for 4 months, 6 months, 5 years, your whole life, you are obliged to register here. So when you're preparing to come here, which I never did because our life is kind of erratic and we're both entrepreneurs, my husband is an artist, so for us it was an on-the-spot decision, and we just winged it as we went along, and that wasn't always easy. So I definitely would have preferred to prepare some of this at home if you can, read into it, watch videos about it, and maybe even get a lawyer, an immigration lawyer that can help you if you're really planning on moving here, because getting your residence as a EU citizen is supposed to be extremely easy, but it's just that the bureaucracy itself is complex to say the least, and also quite long and inefficient many times. So yeah, that's why it would be preferable to have an immigration lawyer help you with this, and that can just make your life so much easier and prevent so much stress. Now, first of all, before you commit to any rental contract that you might have seen online, it's really important to just come to Florence or to Italy, wherever you're going to live, and spend some time here finding it while you're here, and talk to people, connect with people. I think to find the right place that you really feel at home and is your place that you really want to stay, the best way is still to be here and to maybe go to the same bar every day, talk to the barista, talk to the people at the hotel. Somebody's aunt has somebody that has an apartment or rents an apartment. And then the most important thing for your residency is that the contract that your apartment is a long-term contract, so either a 3 to 5 years or a 4 to 4 years. And this was a huge issue for us in the beginning. We didn't know that that was a requirement, and that they don't accept transitorio contracts, which are more like short-term contracts, which are often the contracts that they offer here. And that has to do with Airbnb, because during COVID lockdowns, they didn't want to lose the opportunity to later on rent it again through Airbnb when the lockdowns were lifted. And so most of the things that we saw also online were short-term contracts, transitorio. So, and that's not accepted. So yeah, you do find a lot of places, but not all places have the opportunity for you to register here. So keep that in mind. And so even if you are staying only for 6 months, this is still the requirement that you need to have a long-term contract. So that's can be quite frustrating, but yeah, that's how it is. Obviously, you can always get out of the contract earlier. You're not, committed to having to stay that whole time. So but it's something to keep in mind when you're looking for a house. Once you have found the place, your contract needs to also be registered with the municipality, and you need a document. Your broker can do this for you, and need a document for the registration as well that says, yes, this contract is registered here, and this person is actually living there. So those two things. Now, when you arrive in Florence for the first time, super important and you need it for everything is your codice fiscale. It's your tax identification number, and you need it for basically anything and everything. If you go to a doctor, this is what they ask for. If you're going to have a rental contract, you need it. Sometimes even buying certain things online, they ask for your codice fiscale. So that's the first thing you need to do. And instead of calling and trying to get an appointment, we figured out that it's much better to just go to the office and show up there. And we had our codice fiscale after we did that in 5 minutes or so after having called them 100 times and then getting in answering machines. And everything is in Italian. Also keep in mind, every time you're dealing with bureaucracy here, there's no English translation. So and we were very lucky because we have friends here that helped us with some of these things. But if you don't, it would be wise to know some Italian, or again, go through a legal counsel because they can help you with all of these things. And the other document you need for registering is a valid health insurance. So basically, in your home country, before you leave, make sure that you have a health insurance until you can get your registry done here, because in the meantime, otherwise you're gonna not be insured. It's kind of double, because in order to register you need to have a health insurance, but in order to get your local health insurance you need to have a registry here, like a residenza. So I think in my case, because I am a European citizen, I come from Holland, there I asked my local insurance if I could have an S1 form, which is very convenient because once you have that form and you show it here, they give you a free health pass to enjoy all the benefits of the health system here, because the S1 form basically states that you have already a health insurance in your home country. And in my case, I really still needed that health insurance to be in place because I have a business in Holland and I work there too. So it's actually required by law that I keep my health insurance in Holland. So, but every situation is different. Therefore, check out what your situation is, or maybe get a travel insurance. There's also private insurances, which obviously are more expensive, but yeah, there are options until you have your registry here, because basically in the period that you're here, which is then 3 months, right? Because for 3 months you're a tourist, and after those 3 months you officially have to be a resident here. And the process, once you have sent all your papers, is 45 days before you are registered here, or sometimes shorter or longer depending on the time of the year and how busy it is. So meaning in that whole period you will not have your health insurance. Also, before you have your residenza, you don't have the option of buying a car or opening a bank account, which were two major obstacles for us here in the beginning, because it's just nice to be able to get around, but renting a car here is so expensive that wasn't also an option for us. So be prepared that could be an issue, and that you might not have a car for a while if that's what you want. Obviously here in Florence it's not 100% important because we use the bikes quite a lot, the electrical bikes, which is perfect for here. And but yeah, if you want to do some trips or in the countryside, or you live more remote and stuff like that, then you do need a car, and it might take a while before you can actually get one. So yeah, you need your passport, and you need to fill out a whole bunch of forms. It's like 5 pages, and it's all in Italian. So again, you need help, a friend or maybe legal counsel to guide you through filling out those forms, because there's no English translation. So you're going to have to know what you're signing and what you're doing. And obviously your rental contract and the registry with the municipality of the rental contract. So that's what you need, and your income statements. And I don't know, that's in my case, because I don't have a salary because I'm an entrepreneur. It always is different every month. So in my case, I just gave them a bank statement, and I think what I read online is that you need about 6,000 euro per person in your bank to prove that you can pay for your stay here. And that's yeah, that's enough. So in my case that was fine. So yeah, it's filling out all these forms. Then once you have everything in place and made copies of everything, you send this to the Anagrafe, which is like yeah, the local commune, the municipality, how do you call yeah. And so you send the whole package and through email. And then you get basically an acknowledgement of receiving your documents from them. And after that, you don't hear anything unless there's something wrong. And the next step is that somebody from the police, the vigilante, comes by your house to check if you actually live there. Now, that sounded very threatening when I heard it the first time, but it's actually not really threatening, because it was quite funny when that happened here. The guy showed up here at the gate of our house, apartment complex where we live, and on his Vespa, and he just said, "Yeah, are you Sarah?" And I said yes, and I showed him my driver's license, and he made a little note, and that was it. So it was very relaxed and very funny. So don't worry about this, but that's basically the last step. And after that, you are registered, and it's quite surprising that you don't really hear from them. Like, they don't send you the form like, here's your residence card or whatever. But what you need to do after you've had the visit, we waited a couple of days just in case, you know, that needs a little bit of processing. And then we went to the tobacco store. A lot of things here are arranged at the post office or at the tobacco store, which is super funny. And then you ask with your codice fiscale, you ask for a printout of this residence card, and that's what they do. And it's just an A4 stating that you are now a resident of Italy. So I was so happy when I finally got mine, because yeah, we've been through a journey in order to meet the requirements. Because in the beginning, if you don't know what they want from you, we made the mistake of like renting a place with the wrong contract and all that. So it's, yeah, and then it can get quite frustrating. But yeah, I finally do have it, and now I know what to do. Backwards, it would have been so much easier if we would have just had legal counsel, because then we wouldn't have to go through all of these steps and things, you know. But anyway. Now, if you are visiting Italy, speaking Italian is not that big of a deal because a lot of people do speak English or a little bit of English, and especially the younger people. So, but if you're going to live here, I highly recommend definitely getting a language course, or maybe self-teaching like I did online, and watching movies, and maybe it also helps you get into this the spirit of your move to Italy, which is a marvelous feeling. And I mean, yes, the dream and the reality are sometimes obviously different, but in my case, I have always dreamt of living in Italy, and I have to say it's very, very close to how I imagined it to be. I think it's just a wonderful country, full of art, history, culture, kind people, and I'm super grateful every day to wake up here and be here. I think it's a huge privilege. So, and I think every time you move to a different country than where you come from, where you don't speak the language, it's always going to be hard. You know, there are always going to be obstacles, and every country also has its own problems, its own politics, its own corruption, its own things that might be negative. I mean, I've had some conversations about this. It's like, yeah, well, Italy, it's nice to visit, but not to live and all that. And I disagree, because I think everywhere you live has its own problems, and obviously Italy also has those problems, and bureaucracy is a nightmare and all that, but those are practicalities, and the beautiful life that exists here, and the quality of life, and the warmth of the people, and how they treat you like family immediately. I mean, at least here in Florence, I've had nothing but good experiences with people, and I have never felt excluded or foreign here. I just feel they're very welcoming, and things do work out. It's just that you have to be patient, and things don't go fast. They go really slow, and it's really important to connect with people that can help you, and they are very helpful. Even though with the bureaucratic process, I still think it's better to get legal advice, because sometimes you feel a little bit like everybody is sending you in a different direction. You know, like that movie Back in Rome, or what's it called? To Rome with Love, I think. That movie, if you remember that, this girl coming from the countryside, and then she loses her way back to her hotel, and everybody is sending her in a different direction and she gets completely lost in the city. And that's a little bit how I feel it is here. Like, it's not that people don't want to help you out. They actually do, and they're super sweet. But the bureaucracy is so complicated that sometimes you just get lost in a jungle. And therefore it's better to just get legal advice and navigate it with somebody that knows what they're doing. And that's totally a mistake I always make. I always want to do everything myself, and I'll figure it out on my own, and this and that. But in this case, I don't think it's a good idea, and it's just making it too hard on yourself when it doesn't have to be, you know. Obviously, also the other thing is every situation is different, so there are nuances on, like, let's say if you're a non-EU citizen, the process is already very different than mine. You have to get a permesso di soggiorno, it's called, which is again different from the residence card and the process also goes through a different organization, and you have to do different steps and different proofs and stuff like that. So I think therefore it's so important to get legal advice, and so you don't miss some of the steps, or it takes way longer than necessary. Also, I really wanted to thank you, if you're watching, for being here. Obviously, I am doing this for fun because I love sharing my life here with you, and it really helps to have your comments or your likes. And also, if you have any questions, I would love to hear them, or maybe in one of my videos I will answer some of your questions. And yeah, so thank you, really, it helps a lot, and hopefully I can build this channel up to being a helpful thing for anybody that's dreaming about living in Italy, or if you're interested in natural health. I don't know if you've seen my website, sarasoliaris.com, and this is where I sell beautiful products that I developed on my own for my own children. And also I have included many beautiful brands, obviously also from Florence, that you can find there, that are wholesome, organic, natural, and it is geared towards mom and child, but also if you don't have children, obviously there are wonderful products there to try out. Hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Arrivederci, ciao!